The victory against the raiders had brought a brief calm, but the tension in the palace was far from over. Not all orcs welcomed the growing bond between Princess Kalara and Joran. Several nobles whispered in dark corridors, plotting to undermine the alliance. They feared human influence, resented Joran's growing respect, and questioned the princess's judgment. One night, Kalara overheard a conversation between two council members. "If she trusts that human further," one growled, "we will lose our honor and our place. He must be removed before he corrupts her and our people." Kalara's heart sank. The council's opposition was not gone. It had only grown more dangerous. She realized that the next test would not be from an external enemy, but from her own people. And this test could cost lives. Joran noticed her unease. "What troubles you?" he asked, standing beside her as she gazed over the palace grounds. "The council," she admitted. "Some nobles plan to betray us. They see you as a threat. They will not hesitate to strike if they think it will weaken me." Joran's jaw tightened. "Then we must act before they do. We cannot let fear dictate our actions." The ambush came faster than expected. During a council meeting, a group of conspirators triggered a security breach. Automated defense systems were activated, but the hall quickly became a trap. Lasers cut through the air and the floor began to shift as part of the mechanism. The nobles who had planned the attack revealed themselves, attempting to seize control of the council chamber. Kalara reacted immediately. She drew her spear, her movements precise and commanding. "Defend the council," she shouted, though she knew some members were part of the plot. Orc guards followed her lead, though panic rippled through the hall. Joran moved beside her, calm and alert. His hands worked quickly, disabling parts of the automated defenses and guiding guards and innocent council members to safety. The conspirators were strong, but Joran's quick thinking and Kalara's strength made them vulnerable. At one point, Kalara was struck by a falling beam, her shoulder injured. Joran acted without hesitation. He lifted the beam with all his strength, pulling her clear of harm's way. The two stood back to back, fending off attackers together. Their movements were synchronized, human and orc acting as one. Kalara's heart pounded. This was more than a test of strength. It was a test of trust, leadership, and courage under fire. She realized that the loyalty and intelligence of a partner mattered just as much as her own skill. Joran's calm courage steadied her, and together, they overcame the immediate threat. By the time the automated systems were stabilized and the last conspirator was subdued, the council chamber was quiet. The surviving nobles stared in disbelief. Joran, slightly bruised but unshaken, helped Kalara to her feet. The princess looked around at the shaken faces of the council. "This betrayal proves something," Kalara said firmly, her voice echoing through the hall. "Strength alone does not protect our people. Strategy, intelligence, and loyalty are just as vital, and this human has shown all of these qualities in ways that none of you could ignore." The High Elder, who had remained silent during the chaos, stepped forward. "It is true," he said, his voice heavy with authority. "This human has proven courage, intelligence, and honor. Princess Kalara's choice is justified. He is worthy of her trust and partnership." A murmur ran through the chamber. Some orcs reluctantly nodded, recognizing the truth. Others remained skeptical, but they could not deny the evidence. Kalara's trust in Joran had saved lives, defended her authority, and proven that humans could be more than outsiders. They could be partners in leadership. Later, as the palace settled from the chaos, Kalara and Joran walked together through the garden. The twin moons of Grathar reflected softly on the fountain's water, and the air was calm for the first time in weeks. "You risked yourself to save me," Kalara said quietly. "You could have left, but you stayed. You proved that your loyalty is as strong as any orc warrior's." Joran smiled faintly. "I did what was necessary. Not for glory, not for recognition. I did it because it was the right thing to do. And because I trust you." Kalara's eyes softened. "I trust you too. More than I have trusted anyone in my life. You are not just a partner in strategy. You are a partner in purpose. Together we can protect our people and change the future of Grethar. Over the next days, the council formally accepted Joran as Kaelara's partner. Titles were granted and respect slowly spread among the Orcs. Some remained resistant, but most began to see humans in a new light. They had witnessed courage, intelligence, and loyalty, not as weaknesses but as strengths. The princess visited the villages affected by the earlier raids, accompanied by Joran. Together, they helped rebuild homes, distribute supplies, and reassure frightened children and elders. Villagers who had once viewed humans with suspicion now looked upon Joran as a hero. The bonds between humans and orcs began to strengthen, forming the foundation for a united society. One evening, Kaelara and Joran stood together on the palace balcony, overlooking the plains where the last battle had taken place. The twin moons reflected off the jagged rocks, casting long shadows over the land. "We have won respect, but the work is far from done," Kaelara said softly. "The galaxy is dangerous, and threats will continue to come. But now, we are ready." Joran nodded. "And we will face them together. Strength is not just muscle or weapon, it is courage, intelligence, and trust. You and I, together, have all of those." Kaelara placed her hand in his. "Then let us continue forward. For our people, for Grethar, and for the future." In that moment, the palace, the council, and even the skeptics could see what Kaelara had known all along. The human beside her was not weak. He was not fragile. He was brave, clever, and loyal. And together they would change the destiny of an entire world. The path ahead was still full of danger, but Kaelara no longer faced it alone. She had a partner, a human, who had risked everything to stand by her side. And that trust, that courage, and that alliance would carry them through the challenges yet to come. For the first time, Princess Kaelara felt complete hope, not just for herself, but for her people, her partner, and the future they would build together. The weeks after the year, council ambush passed quickly. Grethar was no longer a planet of division and doubt. Thanks to Kaelara and Joran, the Orcs had begun to see humans not as fragile outsiders, but as allies with unique skills, courage, and intelligence. Slowly, the society adapted. Warriors trained with new tactics, blending strength and strategy. Scouts moved faster and smarter, engineers reinforced defenses, and the people began to unite under a single vision. Kaelara and Joran worked tirelessly, side by side, guiding the Orcs and preparing for the future. Every decision they made, every battle strategy they devised reflected a new way of thinking, strength and intellect combined. Kaelara watched as her people began to trust in her leadership and in the human who had become her partner. One morning, Kaelara stood on the palace balcony with Joran. The twin suns rose over the horizon, casting light across the plains where warriors trained. The air was crisp and the energy of preparation and hope filled the city. "We have done much," Kaelara said quietly. "But the galaxy is vast, and dangers will come again. We must remain vigilant." Joran nodded. "Yes, but we have shown that courage, intelligence, and trust can overcome even the greatest odds. Your people are stronger now because they have hope, and hope is more powerful than any weapon." A messenger arrived with news of a distant alien fleet approaching another system near Grethar. It was a potential threat, but not an immediate danger. Kaelara studied the report. "We will send scouts and prepare defenses, but we are ready. And if they attack, we will face them together as one people." The council gathered for a formal meeting, this time without tension or whispers of betrayal. Kaelara spoke with authority, confidence in every word. "The galaxy will judge us by our actions, not our traditions. We will defend Grethar, protect our people, and embrace allies who fight with courage and honor. Today, we choose unity over fear, strategy over pride, and hope over doubt." The council members nodded in agreement. Even the most skeptical among them could not deny the evidence. Joran stood beside Kaelara, quietly observing. His presence, once questioned and doubted, was now respected. Orcs approached him to ask advice, to train with him, and to learn from his strategies. Humans had earned a place among them, not by strength alone, but by courage, intelligence, and loyalty. In the weeks that followed, Kailara and Joran continued to strengthen Grathar. They visited villages, rebuilt infrastructure, and encouraged collaboration between orcs and humans. Villagers who had once feared outsiders now looked upon humans as heroes. Children trained alongside orc warriors, learning new tactics and strategies. Engineers shared knowledge, combining orc technology with human ingenuity. One evening, Kailara and Joran walked along the cliffside overlooking the plains. The twin moons reflected softly on the jagged rocks, creating a calm, peaceful scene. "Do you remember when we first met?" Kailara asked, smiling softly. "I never thought a human could change so much for my people." Joran shook his head. "It is not just humans or orcs. It is all of us working together. You inspired me, Kailara. You believed in something greater than tradition. You trusted me, and we accomplished this together." Kailara looked at him, her heart filled with gratitude and admire. The hidden settlement was quiet that morning, but the calm did little to ease Kara's nerves. Her body ached more than usual, and she could feel the small life inside her moving, pressing insistently against her. Eli noticed her unease immediately and knelt beside her, holding her hand gently. "You're strong, Kara," he said softly. "But today is going to be hard. You must trust yourself and trust me. We will do this together." Kara nodded, her ears flicking nervously. She had survived stones, hunters, and harsh traditions. Yet the fear she felt now was different. This was life itself on the line, the life she carried. Eli quickly prepared a small area in the settlement's hidden chamber. It was clean, safe, and well-equipped for emergencies. Though the resources were simple, he had done everything he could to make it ready. Kara watched him move with calm determination. His confidence was contagious, and slowly she felt her own courage grow. The labor began quietly at first. Kara gritted her teeth, gripping Eli's hand tightly. Waves of pain came and went, each one testing her endurance. Eli stayed beside her, whispering encouragement, guiding her through each moment. "You are doing beautifully," he said. "Breathe, Kara. Focus on the strength you already have." Hours passed. The hidden settlement, usually full of life and quiet hums, was filled with the sounds of determination, effort, and trust. Kara drew on every ounce of her strength, recalling the lessons of survival her people had taught her long ago. She remembered how she had outrun the stoning, how she had scaled cliffs with Eli, how she had faced danger with a sharp mind and a brave heart. All that strength now guided her. Finally, after long hours of labor, a small cry filled the room. Kara's ears twitched in surprise and relief. Eli gently held the small bundle, his eyes shining with pride and joy. Kara, exhausted but smiling, reached out and touched the child. The tiny fingers wrapped instinctively around her hand. It's alive," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "It's real. We did it." Eli nodded, placing the newborn gently in her arms. "Yes, Kara. It's alive, strong, and perfect. Half human, half orc. A new beginning." Kara cradled the child, feeling warmth and hope unlike anything she had ever known. For the first time in her life, she understood the true power of life, not the power of strength or tradition, but the power of love, protection, and hope. This small life was a symbol that change was possible, that fear and cruelty did not have to define existence. Over the next days, Kara rested while Eli tended to both her and the child. He helped her learn to care for the newborn, feeding, cleaning, and comforting the little one. Kara marveled at how quickly the child responded to touch and voice, even though it was only days old. The tiny being seemed to radiate strength already, as Kara recovered. She reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From the harsh plains of Orkland, where she had been stoned and shamed for her inability to bear a son, to the hidden settlement where she had found safety, compassion, and now life, she realized how much had changed. This child, it is hope. Kara said one evening, looking at Eli as he carefully placed the newborn in her arms. Hope for both of us. Hope for a future where strength is not measured by fear or cruelty. Eli smiled warmly. Yes, this child will grow, knowing love, respect, and courage. And one day it may show others that tradition does not have to rule lives. That strength comes from choice, not fear. Kara nodded, feeling a deep bond with both Eli and the child. She had survived her people's harshest punishments, escaped relentless hunters, and now held a new life in her arms. She had discovered courage she had never known, and with Eli by her side, she knew she could face anything. Outside, the stars shone clearly over the hidden settlement. Kara could see the cliffs of Orcland in the distance, the land she had once known, now dangerous but no longer controlling her life. She had grown beyond fear, beyond shame, and beyond the limits her people had imposed. Eli gently placed a hand on her shoulder. You've changed more than you know, Kara. You are no longer just a survivor. You are a protector, a mother, and a symbol of hope. Kara looked at the child, her small fingers grasping her own, and smiled. She realized that this life was more than her own story. It was the start of something bigger, something that could change the world. Perhaps her people would see it one day, the courage of a woman, the compassion of a human, and the life that grew between them. Days turned into weeks, and Kara's strength returned. She and Eli worked together to build a safer home, preparing for any future threats. They trained in secret, improved defenses, and made plans to keep the child safe from anyone who might wish them harm. The hidden settlement, once quiet and simple, became a small bastion of hope, courage, and resilience. Kara often held the child under the stars, feeling a deep sense of peace. She whispered stories of her journey, of the cliffs she had scaled, the hunter she had escaped, and the human who had saved her. She told the child of courage, of trust, and of hope, and she felt a deep connection, not only with her new life but with the universe itself. This child, half human and half orc, represented more than survival. It represented unity, compassion, and the possibility of a future where fear and cruelty could be replaced by understanding and strength. Kara had been broken, punished, and tested. Yet now she held life in her arms, and through that life, she felt the beginnings of change. And in that quiet moment, Kara understood something she had never known before. True strength was not measured by obedience, by tradition, or even by survival. True strength was the courage to protect life, to trust, and to hope for a better future. With the newborn resting safely in her arms and Eli watching beside her, Kara felt something extraordinary. For the first time, she was free, and she knew that nothing, no hunter, no cruel tradition, no fear, could take that freedom away. The hidden settlement was quiet, but it was no longer just a place of survival. It had become a home. Kara held the child gently in her arms, feeling the tiny heartbeat that pulsed with life and hope. Eli stood nearby, repairing a small section of the settlement's wall. Together they had created a place where they could live without fear, where the past cruelty of Orcland could not reach them. Kara looked at Eli, her expression soft. "Do you think they will ever change?" she asked quietly, thinking of the harsh elders and the villagers who had once punished her. Eli smiled gently. "Change is slow, Kara, but one act of courage can inspire many. You survived. You raised a child here. And your story, it will reach those who are ready to listen." Kara hugged the child closer, feeling warmth in her chest. She had endured so much, the stones, the fear, the hunters, but now she understood something she had never known before. Strength was not only in surviving, it was in protecting, in teaching, and in giving hope to others. Over the next few weeks, Kara and Eli worked to make the settlement stronger. They built small watchtowers, reinforced walls, and created hidden paths in case hunters returned. Kara moved with confidence now, her steps sure and steady. Each day, she felt stronger, not just in body but in heart and mind. The child grew quickly, healthy and alert. Even as a newborn, there was something remarkable in the little one's bright eyes and determined grip. Kara marveled at how life could be so small and yet so powerful. The child was more than a symbol of survival. It was a promise of something new, a bridge between worlds that had once seemed so separate. One morning, Kara stood outside watching the stars fade as the sun rose. She thought about Orcland, about the elders, the hunters, and the cruel tradition she had escaped. She wondered if her people would ever understand what she had endured, or what they had lost by punishing her. Eli joined her quietly, placing a hand on her shoulder. "They may never see it the way we do," he said. "But you've shown something important. Courage, kindness, and love are stronger than fear." Kara nodded. "I hope maybe others will see it too. Maybe one day, Orcland will be different." Eli smiled. "Perhaps, and even if it takes time, the child will carry that hope forward. The next generation can be better because of what we've done." As the weeks passed, Kara began to teach the child simple skills, showing curiosity and courage. She told stories of the cliffs and plains of Orcland, of the dangers she had faced, and of the human who had saved her. The child listened intently, eyes wide and bright, learning about courage and resilience from the very beginning. The settlement itself became a small sanctuary for others as well. Occasionally, travelers arrived, humans or orcs who had escaped cruelty, who sought refuge and understanding. Kara welcomed them, sharing what she had learned about strength and hope. Eli helped train them, teaching them skills for survival and protection. Together they created a community founded on trust, compassion, and courage. One evening, as the sun dipped behind distant cliffs, Kara and Eli sat outside, holding the child between them. Kara's mind wandered back to the day she had first been stoned, the humiliation and fear that had seemed impossible to escape. She realized now how far she had come. From despair to safety, from fear to hope, from punishment to protection, her life had transformed completely. Eli looked at her, reading the thoughts in her eyes. "You've changed, Kara, and so has this world, at least this little corner of it. You are no longer a victim. You are a mother, a protector, and a symbol of hope." Kara smiled softly, tears welling in her eyes. "I never tea." Days passed, and Kara began to settle into her new life with Eli. She still missed the open plains of Orcland, but here, among the metal buildings and hidden gardens, she felt safer than ever before. Each day brought new lessons: how to plant seeds, how to repair small tools, and how to move quietly through the settlement to avoid drawing attention. Eli watched her carefully. He admired her strength and determination. Even though she had been broken by her people, Kara refused to give up. She worked hard, learned quickly, and most importantly, she was alive. Kara, however, struggled with trust. Every time someone approached her quickly, her body tensed. She flinched at loud noises. She often thought of the day the stones fell and the crowd shouted. She wondered if she would ever fully escape the fear that had controlled her life for so long. One morning, Eli brought a small crate of supplies into the garden. "Today, we'll plant new seeds," he said. "These will grow fast, and they will help feed the settlement." Kara nodded and took the seeds carefully. As they worked side by side, planting and watering, a strange feeling came over her. Eli spoke gently, explaining each step, but he also listened to her thoughts and ideas. For the first time in her life, Kara's voice mattered. She felt heard, respected, and useful. "You have a good eye for this," Eli said with a smile. "These plants will grow strong because you cared for them." Kara felt warmth in her chest. Praise had been rare in her life. Even the simplest recognition made her feel proud. She realized that humans celebrated effort, not just results. That was something she had never experienced in Orcland. As the days turned into weeks, Kara began to talk more openly with Eli. She shared stories of her childhood, the lessons her elders taught her, and the pressures of Orc society. Eli listened patiently, never judging, never interrupting. "You carry a heavy weight," he said one evening as they sat under the stars. "It is not fair that your people punished you for something beyond your control." Kara looked down, her ears twitching nervously. "It is my life. I cannot change what they believe. I just wish I could forget it." Eli placed a hand gently on hers. "You cannot forget the past, but you can choose what the future looks like. Here you are free to make new choices, to be stronger than before." Kara felt a strange warmth in her chest. She had never been told that she had a choice. Orc society had always told her what to do, what to feel, what to be, but now for the first time Kara felt power, not the power of strength, but the power of freedom. One afternoon, Kara felt a strange discomfort in her stomach. At first she ignored it, thinking it was hunger or fatigue. But as the days passed, she realized something unusual was happening. She confided in Eli, describing the feeling carefully. Eli's eyes widened slightly, and he nodded. "Kara, you might be carrying a child." Kara froze. She had never expected this. A child was a blessing, but she also knew the dangers it might bring. Orc hunters could come searching for her. Raising a child here would be difficult. She looked at Eli, uncertainty and fear mixing in her expression. "You don't have to be afraid," Eli said softly. "We will face it together. We will protect you, and we will protect this child." Kara studied his face. For the first time, she felt trust without doubt. He was not just protecting her. He believed in her strength, her courage, and the life growing inside her. Slowly, she nodded. Over the next weeks, Kara began to notice changes in her body and her emotions. She felt protective, cautious, and more aware of the world around her. Eli taught her about care, about preparing for the future, and about hope. Kara began to feel a bond growing between them, a bond built on trust, respect, and shared struggle. One evening, as they sat by the small garden pond, Kara looked at Eli. I never thought I could feel this way," she admitted. "I never thought someone could see me as more than a failure." Eli smiled, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "You are more than that, Kara. You have always been more. Now you can see it too." Kara felt her heart swell with a mix of emotions: gratitude, relief, and something she had not expected: affection. She realized she cared deeply for Eli, not just because he saved her life, but because he believed in her, saw her courage, and treated her as a partner, not a victim. Days passed and Kara grew stronger. She learned to move with confidence, to take care of herself, and to trust Eli completely. She began to understand the small joys of life: the warmth of sunlight on her skin, the quiet sound of flowing water, and the laughter shared with someone who cared. But Kara knew danger was not far away. Orc society was relentless. Her people would not forget her failure, and some would come looking for her. Yet, despite the fear, Kara felt hope, a hope stronger than any fear she had ever known. And then one morning, she realized something that took her breath away. She was truly carrying a new life. The child inside her was a symbol of something extraordinary, a blending of worlds, a new beginning. Half human, half orc, this child would carry strength, courage, and hope into the universe. Kara looked at Eli and smiled faintly. "We will raise this child together," she said softly. Eli nodded, placing his hand over hers. "Yes, together. We will protect it. And we will show the universe that strength is not just blood or tradition. It is courage, love, and the will to survive." Kara felt tears in her eyes, but they were not of fear or pain. They were tears of hope, of life, and of the first real happiness she had known in years. She had survived Orclan's cruelty, found safety, and discovered a bond stronger than fear. And deep inside, she knew this was only the beginning. Her life had changed forever, and the journey ahead, though filled with challenges, would be one of courage, growth, and discovery. Kara took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun and the gentle presence of Eli beside her. She whispered quietly, almost to herself, Maybe Maybe life can be different. Maybe it can be good. And for the first time, she truly believed it. The quiet of the hidden settlement was shattered one evening by the distant roar of engines. Kara and Eli were working in the small garden when the sound reached them. Kara froze, her ears twitching, nervously. That sounds like orc hunters, she whispered. Eli's expression grew serious. You were right to worry. They must have tracked you. We need to move. Now. Kara's heart pounded in her chest. She had survived the stones of Orcland, but hunters were different. They were fast, skilled, and relentless. Their duty was to bring her back, no matter the cost. Eli grabbed a small pack, tossing it to Kara. Take only what you need, he said. We'll use the old escape route. It's dangerous, but it will keep us ahead of them. Kara nodded, gripping the pack tightly. She followed Eli through narrow corridors and hidden paths, feeling the tension rise with each step. The settlement's usual peace had vanished, replaced by the fear of discovery. Outside, the stars shone brightly, but the hunters' engines cut through the night like thunder. Kara felt a strange mix of fear and determination. She was not just running for herself anymore, she carried a new life inside her. She would protect it at all costs. The two moved through the cliffs, carefully avoiding open spaces where the hunters could spot them. Kara's orc instincts, honed in years of survival, helped them navigate the rough terrain. Eli watched her closely, noting how quickly she adapted, how her movements were precise and careful. You're strong, he said quietly as they paused behind a rocky ledge, stronger than they expect. Kara swallowed, her breath steady despite the fear. I have to be. I will not let them take me, or the child. For hours they moved under the cover of darkness, dodging patrols and using hidden paths Eli had discovered long ago. They climbed steep rocks, waded through cold streams, and hid in caves when engines passed nearby. The tension was constant. Every shadow could be an enemy. Every sound could mean danger. At one point, a group of hunters appeared ahead, blocking the narrow canyon that served as their escape route. Kara froze, fear gripping her chest. She had no weapons, no shields. How could they get past without being seen? Eli motioned for her to stay low. Follow my lead, he whispered. He crept to a small opening above the hunters, assessing the terrain. With a nod, he signaled Kara to climb quietly behind him. Using handholds and small ledges, they scaled the rocks silently, hearts pounding. The hunters shouted below when they noticed movement. There, she's here. Kara's pulse raced, but she did not falter. Eli guided her higher, away from sight, and soon they were safe on the rocky plateau above. Kara breathed heavily, realizing her legs were shaking. I can't believe we made it, she said. Eli smiled, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. You did more than make it. You led us. Your instincts saved us. Kara looked down at the hunters below. Their anger and frustration were clear, but they could not reach them. For the first time, Kara felt a sense of power over her past fears. She was no longer just a victim. She was a fighter, a protector. As they continued their escape through rugged terrain, Kara began to notice how much she had changed. Her body was stronger, her mind sharper. Each step, each careful movement was a proof of her resilience. She had survived Orcland's cruel punishments, adapted to a new life, and now faced hunters without fear paralyzing her. Eli noticed the shift in her as well. You've grown, he said quietly. Not just stronger physically, but inside too. You carry courage like no one else I have ever met. Kara felt a flush of pride. Praise was